Yo, yo, how you doing? Welcome to the Paulie Z Show. This is the first episode, and you may be wondering to yourself, the same like I'm wondering, why the hell are we doing this? What the hell do I have to say to you? The answer is absolutely nothing, actually. No, the truth is that, look, I've been very, very fortunate to have experienced a lot of interesting things in my life. You know, being in a rock band, ZO2, for people that don't know, I'm the lead singer and guitar player for ZO2. Also playing in a kids band called the Z Brothers for a long period of my life. You know, that was the way I paid my bills, and then getting a television series called Z Rock based on our lives. It's a lot of stuff, and I always find it interesting when I find out about other people's backgrounds. You know, that's why I love reading books on band biographies and watching behind the musics. I mean, I love that stuff, and I'm sure there's probably other people out there like me that does. So I figured, well, why not share some of my experiences? Wouldn't it be interesting to kind of find out like what it's like to live the life of someone in my position that's, not quite famous, but not quite the local band either, sort of in limbo. It's weird. I gotta tell you, it's weird. It's very interesting. Get recognized on the street all the time, get into places for free, a lot of little perks, but still fighting to get that major, major recognition. And so that's some of the, that's one of the reasons that sort of, I guess, motivated me to do this for you guys. And I hope you enjoy it. And one of the things that we're going to do, besides just me talking about stuff like that, is, for people that do know me, will know that I love food. I mean, I am, I don't even know how to describe, I mean, I am passionate. I guess passionate is probably the best word to describe it. Sex is great. Look, I love sex. I love blowjobs. I love two girls giving me a blowjob. I mean, that's threesomes. That's what I live for. But that can't compare. Like if God came down and said, "Look, you have to pick this or that," I'm going filet mignon. I don't care. I'm going rotisserie chicken. I'm going butternut squash. I'm going, sauteed spinach and garlic and oil. I mean, that's the stuff. Here's the difference. You eat a cheeseburger, medium rare, you're done. You don't want to call car service. You don't want to kick it out of your head. You want another one. That's the big difference. That stays with you. And I am sure I'm not the only one. Some people may think I'm crazy, but I know for a fact that there are a bunch of you people out there that would agree with me. And those are the people that this show is aimed for. So if you're not into that concept and you don't care about food and you don't care about rock and roll, then don't listen to the show. But if you do, this is the place for you. So I think the cool thing is I've been very fortunate enough to work with a lot of great musicians and comedians. And, I'm going to try to get some of those people on the show and talk to them about, I guess the main focus for me is going to be rock and roll and food. Those are the two biggest things for me in my life. So why would I talk about anything else that I don't really care about? I'm going to be sincere. So, we'll see what other people like, what is Dee Snider's favorite thing to eat? What is Sebastian Bach, what would he order? And maybe we'll go out to dinner or something. Maybe I'll challenge them, even though it's not a challenge. No one's going to eat more than me, but I'll challenge them anyway, knock their ego down a little bit. Yeah. And, so that's some of the stuff we're doing. Also, I'm big into, finding new bands, and I love really like analyzing music, and I think that's one thing I'm going to try to do too. So we're going to take new CDs and old CDs and, old bands that put out new CDs. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything. I'm not going to limit myself. And what I want to do is I'm going to share my thoughts and hopefully steer people in a direction, to either buy a record or stay away from a record. And like with anybody who's giving you an opinion, I think it just depends. If you identify with that person, you're probably going to trust their opinion. There are certain people, like Eddie Trunk's a good example of of someone I think that people trust when it comes to hard rock. He doesn't hold any punches. He tells you exactly how he feels. So if an album comes out, I remember the Ozzy's, I think it was Black Rain that came out, his last record, and I actually liked it. But it's funny. After I bought it, I heard Eddie Trunk talk about it, and he didn't have great reviews. So I wonder if I would have bought it, if I would have heard Eddie's if I heard his critique first, I may not have bought it. But I disagreed with it. I went out and got it anyway. But I think it was good to see someone else's point of view because I thought about what he said. I was like, yeah, I guess I can see why he's saying that. The production on this wasn't so great. The packaging wasn't so great. So it's good. I think it's good to get opinions from people. Whether or not you agree with me, that's fine. I'm not asking you to. So anyway, and I think, let's see, what else we're going to try to do. We're going to figure out different segments. This is, obviously we're going to get phone calls once we get that ready. We'll have you guys call in. And I think what I'd love to do is go on site and just start doing some food challenges. I got to get people, see if they can compete with me. I mean, I have yet to lose a challenge. But, my ultimate challenge, though, you want to hear this? Man versus food. I want Paulie Z from Z-Rock, ZO2, to get on Man versus food. I want to take that guy down. I want to take that fat fuck down. You crazy? Are you crazy right now? I want to go up to him and be like, you crazy right now? You talking to me? Let's see what he can do. But anyway, so I think that's kind of the premise of the show. And as it evolves, hopefully we'll get more segments and it'll turn into something great. And if not, what is the worst case scenario? We're just doing something fun that we love to do. And we didn't hurt anybody, right? No animals were harmed in this process. And so that's that. Barbecue ribs and chicken thighs, cheeseburger platter with a side of fries, porterhouse and chocolate sweets. Baby, it's time for Paulie Eats. Oh yeah! The first thing I'd like to do is talk about food. That's the first thing. One of the places that I go to a lot is the Outback Steakhouse. Now, sometimes I'm going to pick a place that is national so that everyone could go to. And then a lot of times I'm going to probably pick some local New York places just because, I'm from New York, born and raised in Brooklyn. And, obviously there's so much great food here that I'd be a fool to ignore it. But, being on the road, being a musician, you go on the road, I think for other musicians too, we're probably all eating at the same places. Everyone's had Moons Over Miami at Denny's, I mean, that's just a favorite. Cracker Barrel, Bob Evans. Bob Evans actually became like our favorite spot because it's just affordable and it's just the food is good. It's a step above, I think, the places that are in the same category as Bob Evans. I just think the food is better. The service is good. I like their selections. They have a lot of healthy stuff and, so. But anyway, we'll do Bob Evans another time. So let's talk about the Outback Steakhouse. All right. For anyone who's ever been to the Outback, I'm sure you know that obviously the decor is very unique. It has its own sort of style. So let's talk about decor first. I like, maybe some people don't like, I like that sort of warm, homey feel when I go to a restaurant. Like I like, Outback, one cool thing about it is that it's got the very wood. That's like their theme, the tables, the chairs, the walls. Everything's got like a wood sort of earthy tone to it. Some restaurants you go in, you get like bright colors or you get very modern kind of like steel tables and chairs. I like this. It's like when I go, I feel like it represents the actual flavor of the food. To me, that's important. I don't want to go to a rib joint that's decorated like a sushi place. Does that make sense? So I think the Outback, did very well with their decor. Whoever, sort of designed the layout. I like the dim lighting, when you get those booths. They got that lighting over you. It's nice. It's like, you're surrounded by a bunch of people. It's usually very crowded, but yet, I guess the way they light it and the way they set it up, you kind of feel, at least I feel, that you've got your own little space. It's interesting, and I think that's because of the light. They have that one light over you. It's kind of like that, yeah, where were you on Saturday? Yeah, where were you? That one of those kind of lights. Every time I sit down, too, I have to, like, knock it with my hand so it goes back and forth. But, let's see. Let's go to the menu here. All right, so let's start, I think, with a steak because, it is the Outback Steakhouse. I think it would make a lot of sense to start with one of their steaks. For me, personally, I am a filet guy, and I like porterhouse too, don't get me wrong, but I know a lot of people like ribeye, strip, stuff like that. I don't know. I love the texture and the marbleized fat in a filet. I'm not into like the real chewy, just the fat on the strip. And it's a little, for me, it's tougher. I love filet. So let's start. I'm going to go with the Victoria filet. And I say get it medium rare. Now, obviously, it's not going to be like a steakhouse like Peter Luger's or anything like that, but it is, for the money and for the quality of the venue, it is. I think it's excellent. The Victoria filet, that's the one I say. And their Melbourne porterhouse is also, it's great. And I don't know if they still do this, but they used to bring it out like on a sizzling hot plate. Oh, the sound of the sizzle just makes my loins bubble. All right, let's go down the line. You know, I'm sort of insane when I go eat because I kind of write down things I like and things I don't like, so I remember next time, because I got so sick of going to the place and I'm like, oh, I don't remember if I liked this the last time I ordered it. So we're going to start. Let's go down the line here. So Victoria filet, get it. Melbourne, excellent, and I recommend both medium rare. You can always remember my advice. You can always make it a little bit more cooked if you wanted to. You can put it back for a couple seconds, but it's very difficult. Well, it's impossible to go backwards, so you'd have to wait for a brand new steak. Ahi tuna as an appetizer, awesome, delicious with those sauces and stuff. Comes with like a green sauce and an orange sauce. Very, very good. Crab cakes are great. The kookaburra wings, unbelievable. I mean, I was a Hooters fan my whole life. Hooters wings are great, but the kookaburra has turned out to be my favorite buffalo wings so far. Out of any place, actually, just my favorite. Grilled shrimp, very, very good. They got that Aussie spice to them, which I think they use pretty much on all their food. But the grilled shrimp is really good. Potato soup. Okay, now we're down to the burgers here. Excellent, excellent burger. I mean, you wouldn't think so, but their hamburgers are so incredible. And they're different than those big, big giant burgers like you might get at Silver Spurs, which is a New York City restaurant, or Jackson Hole, or, whatever your local place, like, sometimes you get those really big, fat burgers. Very, very different. These, those burgers are sort of stocky and they got more height to them. Like if I was going to compare it to a boxer, let's say that would be like a Mike Tyson. You know how he's like sort of like very like meaty and stocky and sort of like a tight package, as far as like, he's not necessarily tall and lean. But the Outback burger would be more like Oscar De La Hoya, let's say. You know what I mean? Like more. It's more lean, but it still packs the same punch. Does that make sense? Two different leagues. So it's just a wide as far as diameter and circumference, and I like the fact that the bun is specially made for it too. So it's just a nice, juicy, flavorful burger. It really is. It really is. Get it. Their grillers are good. Those are like usually shrimp or steak or chicken or salmon or something, and it comes with rice and like grilled pineapple. Ooh, very, very Hawaiian. And if you want to do something fun when they bring it to you, just say mahalo, and you get a nice, interesting look from them, like you're nuts. Salmon, whether you get the regular or the cracked pepper. Salmon is excellent. The house salad. Okay, let's talk about their salad for 2 seconds. Their salads are great. They're fresh. They got the really, really deep red tomatoes. They're not like that, like those beefsteak tomatoes you buy at the local grocery store that kind of look like they've been there for a few days. Like these tomatoes are fresh. Croutons, a little bit of, I think like a cheddar, mozzarella, shredded cheese medley over there. And your typical like iceberg lettuce and stuff like that. But it's just everything's very fresh. The bowls usually come a little chilled. That's a secret. That is another little secret people don't know. Have a chilled plate. Oh, just great. Great, 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 great. Okay. Sinful Sunday. Let's do some desserts here. Their sundaes are good. The peanut butter pie and the cheesecake. That's what I recommend there. As a drink, pina colada. Okay. Now you got me talking. All right. Do you have some time, folks? Because I can go off on this for a long time, but I won't. The pina colada, let's discuss this for a second. What is a pina colada? A pina colada, basically, pineapple juice, cream of coconut, and some ice. Okay, I make it at home all the time, and it's a hit. People love my pina coladas, okay? Why can't people get this right? 8 out of 10 restaurants I go to fuck it up. You want to know why they fuck it up? because they don't do real pina coladas. It's bullshit. They're tricking you. They're pulling the wool over your eyes. It is a pre-made mix that they buy because it's cheap and, you know, they can get it in quantity, and it's easier than actually taking freaking pineapple juice and cream of coconut. How hard is it to take the two, put them together, and make a good pina colada? So, my friends, I strongly suggest Outback Steakhouse. If you go, get a pina colada. They are absolutely incredible. They got the right consistency, slushy, and the flavor is there, and you can actually taste the separation. You can taste the pineapple and the cream of coconut. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to go too crazy on this pina coladas, but I really feel strongly about it. There's a soft spot in my heart for pina colada. French fries, skin on, like it. Sometimes too salty, but otherwise than that, very, very good. Sweet potato. Ah, the sweet potato. Everyone likes the baked potato, but I tell you, the sweet potato is a nice, healthy, and just, I think, more flavorful alternative. I really do. I think the sweet potato is very underrated. I suggest get it. They give you the butter with the little brown sugar. It's something you have to experience. I think you would be, how do I say, like, if you tried it, I think you would quickly forget about the baked potato. I mean, no offense to you, baked potato. I like baked potatoes. I grew up with you, the baked potato. You know, Mr. Potato Head. But I think sweet potato head would actually sell more. Anyway, pork chops. Well, they have pork chops, and they have pork chops, and then they have what's called pork tenderloins, which we won't talk about yet because that's on my naughty list. But the pork chops, real quick story. When I first ordered the pork chops, I asked for a medium rare. Legally, they can't give it to me medium rare. This is what they tell me. So I said, get it as close as possible. First one they bring out, dry, awful. I call the manager. I say, manager, Mr. Manager, you know, first of all, I use my Z-list charm. I said, you know who I am, right? I'm sort of a big deal. I have a TV show. And it's like, oh, no, I'm sorry, sir. I haven't heard of the show. Well, anyway. And then I said, this is not good. Let's send it back. So they send it back. They bring me another one. Juicy, succulent, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But I had to really specify how I wanted it cooked. So I recommend if you're going to get it, you got to, you know, be very specific on how you want this cooked. And let's see, I think we got maybe one or two more on the order list. The green beans. Yes, green beans. Green beans, another underrated vegetable. I think everyone goes for broccoli or spinach right out of the gate, or carrots. The green beans are delicious. They're sort of tapered at the end. They almost look like a blunt, but they sure don't taste like it. Excellent, excellent. Drizzle a little oil on there, maybe a little garlic. Well done. Okay, I'm going to go through the don't order list. There's not that many, which means Outback gets my thumbs up. I got the French onion soup. Awful. I don't know how you can screw up a French onion soup, but the Australians managed to do that. So don't get the French onion soup. I recommend going for the potato soup. Prime rib, again, not my favorite. It's okay, but just I don't think it's worth it. There's so many other better things. I would stay away. The sirloin medley, my reason for this is very simple. Anything petite is a waste of money. You know why? Because you don't have enough actual mass to get the right gradient in as far as cooking is concerned. You need the charred outside, you need the little bit of gray going into the pink. And when you do like a petite fillet or any sort of like smaller version of a fillet, it's a waste. You just can't do it. Which brings me to the pork tenderloins. Same problem. When you cut the pork tenderloins into little pieces, each piece now has 4 sides to it. So what happens, those 4 sides get cooked and the center is very thin, as opposed to cooking them all together as a pork chop. Now the outside's cooking and it takes time to get to the center. Get it? So now you're going to get that gradient. Don't chop it up. Why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. And the last one I said don't get is the rack of lamb. And the reason for the rack of lamb is it's just not that good. How about that for a reason? I'm not going to say anything witty or fancy. It's just not that good. Go to a lamb place and get real lamb. But everything else was very, very good. And I definitely recommend the Outback Steakhouse. And my stomach, who, I don't know if you know this or don't know this, but I've named my stomach Quado. He actually has a name. So Quado gives it two what? What should I say? 2 bowel movements up. No, that doesn't make sense. We're gonna have to figure 2 bowel movements down. We're gonna have to give it something. We're gonna give it 5 burps. There you go. Quado gives it 5 burps. That's a high rating. Okay. Anyway, that is all for this segment for the Outback Steakhouse. I truly recommend it. It is a great on-the-road place to go, or even if you're in your hometown, it's a nice date. Not super expensive, but not cheap. So you kind of get a nice, balance in between. Got the great atmosphere, great food, and usually I have to say, 10 out of 10 times, great service. That's another thing about it. I have to say, service is great. Never had a problem. So that is all. Oh my God, I think I see the shadow of a celebrity. He's got no fortune, but he's got some fame. Look out, people, it's what's his name? Yeah, so what is it like? What exactly is it like living life on the Z list? Well, what is the Z list? Probably wondering to yourself. Very good question. I like to think of the Z list as it's like, what was that comedian, Kathy Griffin? Griffith or Griffin? I always forget. I think it's Griffith. Griffin is Family Guy. If she was Kathy Griffin, that would make sense, though, because she's insane like the Family Guy family. But anyway, I think it was Kathy Griffith had Life on the D list or something on the D list. She had a show. And basically, the concept is obviously everyone knows there's the A list, the B list, with celebrities. And, there are a bunch of people out there that are not even close to that. I mean, Kathy Griffith is complaining about being on the D list. Well, the D list, for me, I'd like to get, if I was anywhere between A and K, I'd be pretty happy. I think that would be pretty good. So anyway, the Z list is just kind of like, it's like, you have some celebrity status. People do know who you are. You get recognized. There are perks and stuff, but it's still sort of at the bottom of the totem pole. Anyone who knows our situation knows that we've just, recently had a television show, and that really had, kind of boosted our resume and our status. And it's great. And it's like, we're not the big fish in the little bowl anymore. I feel like we're a little fish in a very big bowl, and we're climbing our way up the ladder. But you got to start somewhere. So this segment, Life on the Z List, is going to sort of explore what it's like, when you first get into the major leagues, let's say. It's almost like the viewpoint of a rookie playing his first year on a major league team. So I guess that's the best way to explain it. If anybody ever seen that show Entourage, that's kind of the way it is, but, they picked up right where he was already pretty good. He was doing lists. He was high up. But, the concept of like, you just got in there and now you're experiencing this for the first time. So I like to try to see what I can get away with. And this weekend, we'll use it as an example. A couple cool things happened. First of all, Joe Perry from Aerosmith was playing with his solo band in New York. And Dave, my brother, and I, David, my brother, I didn't mean Dave, my brother, and I, like 3 of us, my brother David and I, decided to go. We were at some Save the Music VH1 show, which was a lot of fun. And then we decided to head over to see Joe Perry. And he's like, well, how are we going to get in? I was like, what do you mean, how are we going to get in? We're celebrities on the Z list. What do you mean? That's all we'll get our way in. And now I am a master schmoozer. I can get, anybody to give me anything if I really, really try. And I know that sounds cocky as hell, but most of the time, the secret is most of the time they just do it to shut me up. So it's not that I have any magic powers. I just annoy people to death. But anyway, we go down to the show, and I walk in. I'm like, we should have 2 passes, backstage passes, and tickets under the name Paulie Z, David Z. So I'm sorry, sir, I don't see your name here. Oh, you know who I am? Paulie Z. Yeah, but you might recognize me. I'm sort of a big deal. That's I stole that line from Anchorman, actually. But I was just kind of like, well, we have a TV show, and Steven Tyler was going to be on our show, and we had all these guest stars, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm sure you recognize me from commercials and stuff. It's like, no, I'm sorry, sir. Like, well, I know these guys, I can't go in line with the regular people. Isn't there... Oh, that's a phone call. Hold on, it's Dan the Storm Parody Man from the Howard Stern Show. Dan, how you doing?
Paulie, what's up, man? Are you already in the middle of your session?
I am. I'm actually recording you on my podcast now, so be careful what you say.
Oh, all right. Well, sorry to interrupt. No, actually, I was just thinking, I guess it's probably too late. I was going to say, if you want, bring an acoustic guitar with you, and maybe we'll get really creative and experiment with something. But if it delays your trip, then I mean, don't even.
Well, I think we're almost done. They're not going to stay here that much longer, so I could probably get to you by 7. Oh, I think we lost him. Dan? Oh, we lost him. Ah, the iPhone. Actually, I love the phone. I shouldn't say that. I love the phone, but the service I can't. I could do without. Let's see. Let's see if we can get him back. For those who don't know, Dan Cooper. Oh, I guess we're not getting any AT&T sponsorships, huh? Dan, the song parody man, is actually works for the Howard Stern show, and he's the one that gets me to do all the parodies that Howard plays. Let's see if I can.
Bring an acoustic, but if it delays your trip, then don't even worry about it. I thought maybe we would just get creative and do an acoustic version of something.
Yeah, well, I have a small acoustic anyway, so I'll bring that. But are we still doing El Cid or no?
Hell yeah, man, absolutely. As a matter of fact, when I know where your ETA is, I'm gonna go there, and if they sound like they're gonna run out of prime rib, I will prepay it so that they hold us to. And if they won't do that, then I'll just order them and have them cook them and bring them to the house, so that we have them when you get there.
I like it.
So,
It's this perfect conversation.
And we contingency plan to make sure we eat the absolute best. And I thought of the other song that we're gonna do.
Oh well, don't say it. Don't say it now because you're still on the thing. I want to keep it a surprise. But the fact that I was talking to my listeners out there. Well, I had 3 listeners. Now I have 2 because I lost one because they were vegetarian. But anyway, we were talking about food. This whole show is rock and roll and food. And Dan, you happen to be a food connoisseur yourself, and I think people one of these. Yeah, we got to get you on the show. We got to bring you down here one day, or I'll come to you with a microphone. We got to talk because you share my passion for it, don't you?
Yeah, I would love to. It's so funny that you say that, and I've actually passed that on to my daughter too. And my friend, I don't know if you know Evan Crown, the engineer. Actually, you met Evan last night.
Yeah.
He's done incredible mixed work and work live and mixed Bon Jovi, Steve Kamak Band, James Addiction, Tool, etc. But anyway, she's the one that noticed wherever we travel on the planet, all my landmarks have to do with food. Like we're driving through a town I thought I was never in before. All of a sudden the grounds look familiar, and I'm like, wait, there's a great steakhouse right down the block. I ate there in 1997. And he pointed out that I do that wherever in the world we are.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Tell me the truth. You would love nothing more than to have a threesome with like a porterhouse and a cheeseburger, wouldn't you?
No, absolutely. That'd be all the time. I could eat my favorite foods until I bust. If it was like the Roman days, I would just binge and purge and just have them keep bringing me out plate after plate.
You know what we should do? We should get our own like Roman setup. Like we should go to get a place, rent a place, and dress up like Romans, and like hire and get like girls to come and just feed us, and film it.
Sure, they can feed us, and then when we get full, they can stick their fingers down our throats. We can get rid of it. We can start again.
Yeah.
Because it's all about just experiencing the flavor over and over again.
Yes.
Like, we could do the hat trick. Like we go out for like the 48-ounce prime rib,
Oh.
and then we get rid of that, and we immediately go directly to a place and have like 8-pound lobsters, and then from there we go immediately to another place and we eat like an inhuman amount of sushi. I think that would.
Oh, so you want all right? So you want to do like a tour? We want to go on tour, like restaurant to restaurant. I'll do that. Did we lose you again? I think that's him, not me. Well, there you go, people. That was Dan, the song parody man from the Howard Stern Show. And he loves food just as much as I do. And he claims that he can pack it away. I've seen him do it, but I've never challenged him. Actually, maybe I should challenge him, see how he can do it. But let's see. I think he's good down, but let's see if we get him one last time just to say an official goodbye. It's ringing. Dan.
Hey now, I don't know. I think maybe a Verizon tower is down or something. So I'm getting a lot of dropped calls.
Oh, you got Verizon and you're dropping calls. Oh, snap.
I've never got dropped calls before. Verizon, to me, is like the most stellar cellular service in the world.
Yes,
I
yeah.
never get dropped calls, but it's weird. Today's been really weird.
Well, listen.
I don't know where we got cut off, but
Well,
no matter what it is, I just love to get together and consume mass quantities.
Yes, well, I like it, and we're gonna film it, and we'll use the audio for the podcast. And I'm actually setting up a Katz's pastrami sandwich contest. If you want in, I'm gonna see if I can hit. Yeah, I know I can do 4. I want to see if I can get through 5.
Can I sew substitute corned beef for pastrami though?
Well, I don't know.
Equal meat density. I would actually even do tongue because that grosses people out more.
Tongue? Well, I'll see.
Cow tongue at Katz's as anybody else can eat pastrami or corned beef.
You know what? I'd be willing to do that test as long as the quantity seems the same, as the mass has to be similar. You know what I mean?
Actually, there's more meat in a tongue sandwich than there is in corned beef or pastrami because it's like a higher density meat.
Really?
It's sliced thinner and it's fat, and there's no air pockets in the meat at all. It's just like solid meat.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. I actually had a tongue sandwich last night at the show. Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, man.
She was kosher too.
Call me when you're rolling out with an ETA, and I will make all the arrangements.
Okay, do me a favor. Text me the address. I don't even know where I'm going.
Okay, I'll text it over to you shortly.
Okay, cool. So I'll see you in a couple hours. Bye. So there you have it. That is Dan the Song Parody Man, and we're gonna get him involved in some of this food stuff. Yeah, he loves his food and his rock and roll. So he is the perfect candidate for the Paulie Z Show and well, he's, you know what's funny about him? He would be a great guest to have for the Z List segment, because I'll tell you what, he's not on the Z List, but he's definitely, below Q, I think. I mean, I don't know. He might be. No, I don't think. I think he's pretty realistic. He knows. Like, people know him from Howard Stern. But, most people don't know. Like, if he just walked up to you on the street, I don't think you would know. You definitely wouldn't recognize him because you never really see him unless you're a diehard fan of Stern. And the average person probably wouldn't know who he is. So, but he gets into things, and I'm sure he gets a lot of good treatment. So anyway, to finish up real quick, the Joe Perry story, I wound up getting tickets. Because I just said, look, I was supposed to. I dropped a couple names people I knew who were there, like a photographer friend of mine, Mark Weiss, really, well-known, famous rock photographer. He was there, and I said, look, I was supposed to be with Mark Weiss. It was the plus, he had guests, and she goes, oh, I don't see it here because, but here you go. Here's the tickets. You look like you know what you're talking about. So I said, sure. And then I knew the guys from security because I used to, I've played there a few times, so I found them, and then they get me to the backstage, and it's great. It's just, so it worked. In that scenario, it definitely worked. I used my Z-List status to get me into the show, and that worked. But, it doesn't always work, and I will keep you guys posted as to when it does and when it doesn't, and the different perks. And if you out there, if you really know how to schmooze and you know how to talk and you have good salesmanship, you can just create your own status, really. I mean, I was on the Z List before I was officially on the Z List. I would just tell people. I was like, yeah, I'm in a rock band, and I do this, and I do that. And they're like, oh, really? Yeah, But listen, if you give me a little 10% off, I might be able to, tell my producers about your restaurant. Oh, yeah? Oh, okay. I'll give you free sushi. Yeah, I'll go talk, I'll call Jay-Z and Kid Rock, and, I'll tell them how good this place was. So anyway, Life on the Z List, part 1 is now finished. That is a little taste of what it's like to live life on the Z List. So thank you for listening to the Paulie Z Show. That's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is experimental, so I really am curious to see what you guys think. Again, it's just supposed to be fun, nothing more than that. But please definitely send me your comments, or if you have questions, feedback, things like that. You can email me at yopaulie@thepauliezshow.com. All right, yopaulie, and Paulie is Paulie. All right, don't give me that parrot spelling with the Y at the end. It's bullshit. So email me and let me know what you think, because obviously we are going to be trying to make this better each week. And each week we will be having interviews and guest appearances and co-hosts and new restaurants and new music and a whole bunch of stuff. So I really do hope you enjoyed it. This was great for me and everyone involved, and I will see you later. Oh, yeah. Dude, that fucking rocks. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That's just good groove. Good production, good groove.